We're just trying to change the world here, people.
Oh, really?
The Facebooking and the tweeting and the Instagramming, all that would not exist without our understanding of science.
So it's amazing how you use that as an insult. You mean true for you is different from true for anybody else?
Yeah, absolutely, because I can't
Some things either got to be true or not.
I can't, no. Good evening, people of Internetlandia. Welcome to ORly Radio Show 77 for Friday, September 11th, 2015, where we dismantle the current events for your edutainment through mostly rational conversations that make you go, oh, really? I'm your host, Andy Cowen, with my usual suspect, Michael, and an unusual suspect, Ophelia Falls. Welcome to the program.
Why, hello there.
Howdy.
Howdy do. Now, you're new here, so you should probably introduce yourself and stuff.
Okay, I'm Ophelia, I'm 27, and when you think about marginalized people on Tumblr, I'm most of that. A decent 88% of that. That's me.
Oh, okay.
She's got a great minority pedigree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are here representing everything that us WASP-style people are. These white Saxon Protestant norm.
I am the anti-wasp. You may call me the bumblebee.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I am short, I am spudgy, and if I sting, my guts fall out, but that's okay.
Okay, that was unexpected. All right. So, you can find Ophelia over at Ophelia in the Dark, all one word, .tumblr.com for all of her rantings and ravings and musings and what have you. Michael actually also has a Tumblr.
Yes. And being as I have a Tumblr, I also follow my good friend Ophelia on Tumblr, and you can find a lot of social justice and cute pictures of snakes.
Lots of baby snakes. Lots of baby snakes.
So it's an interesting blog.
Snakes.
Mine is also full of random social justice things, and then, you know, I'll have just pages of Warhammer fan art. So, you know, it's...
That is true.
Warhammer,
it's a little mix.
Warhammer, social justice, Warhammer? Maybe?
Warhammer 40K
that's how it goes.
more.
And then we both post a decent amount of grammar angst.
Grammar angst.
I wouldn't know anything about that. No, not at all. Everyone can go look at mine too, and yeah, you'll find it there. So you can find those links in the show notes, which are available over at orlyradio.com, ORLYRADIO.com, show 77. All right, errata from last week. Nobody claimed that we made any mistakes. I believe they're probably wrong. I believe they're as wrong as we are. So please, if you find any mistakes, go ahead and pause the podcast. Send us a note, orlyradiopodcast@gmail.com, or you can always phone it in, 470-222-6759, or ORLY, if you got one of those special phones with the letters that go for the numbers. Yeah, it works that way.
And of course, this is not limited to corrections. We will also take compliments, unsolicited advice, hate mail, death threats, whatever you want to do.
That's right. Send them all to Michael Robinson at I'm sorry. Send them all to orlyradiopodcast@gmail.
Absolutely do that. It's not like I didn't, mindlessly send out the link to this to everyone.
Good.
Oh, did you? Oh, excellent. Very good, very good. Okay. All right, so it's time for some ranty segments and headlines and stuff like that. Let's see what the internet has vomited up for us this week.
Oh, dear. Hang on, I'm not drunk enough for this.
Okay, drink. I said GOP, drink. No, that would be horrible. We would all die. Cirrhosis of the liver. Coming up next. GOP presidential hopeful Jeb Bush accidentally picked a fight with Stephen Colbert as he was going to be on the premiere of The Late Show and did some stupid things with a fundraising stunt. And Stephen didn't really take to that too nicely because he wasn't told about it.
Yep.
It was bad. You can go check out the video link over for MSNBC. Rachel Maddow had some things to say about that.
Yeah, and I also saw it came from a conservative news source, I'm pretty sure it was on Fox, about how, there was a thing that Stephen Colbert did, where he, put Jeb's face up, or no, it was Donald Trump. He put Donald Trump's face up on a thing, like right next to some KKK signs or whatever, and supposedly it like hurt his ratings. He's going to get fired from the show. But I couldn't find any other news source that would verify this story.
Stephen Colbert.
I saw this story and I said, "This looks fake. Let's see if I can find anyone else covering it." No,
Okay.
can't find it.
I've got absolutely 2 points to this. Point 1.
Yeah.
Being Stephen Colbert weeps money. The man sweats, he wipes his brow, and the napkin he used turned into a 50. They're
Nice.
not going to just ditch him. He is made out of magic marketing gold. Second thing is, I have met Jeb Bush, and it's something that I've heard said about the entire Bush family, and that, mind you, I was 11 when I met him, but it still rings true. Any member of the Bush family, you can look at them, and there are no lights on upstairs. The eyes are completely hollow, and they only have what they've rehearsed to talk about. And the second that they think they're being clever, something shuts off in them, and you can see it because they're probably androids. But me, at 11, bested him in a battle of half-wits at 11. So I cannot imagine that he has evolved enough to be able to handle the likes of Stephen Colbert now.
No, I don't think so either. Now, apparently this was for the Late Show premiere on the 8th, which I have not seen yet. So I think I need to go back and check out the premiere. Obviously, just for social media and knowing what the heck is going on, I should probably go back and look at that. But
Properly vet it and everything.
properly vet it and see just how horrible it was. 'Cause I'm betting it was probably pretty tense there for a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
I hope. Oh,
I can only imagine exactly how everybody, like, in the filming crew felt in that moment. Like, no,
Well,
Stephen angry.
I just imagine being in that room will be like Jeb Bush being in the room would be like the one guy who doesn't know what he's really in for, because I can just imagine him being the guy who watched Stephen Colbert and thought he was an actual conservative supporter, as opposed to a hilarious caricature.
yeah, bought the yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I'm America, and so can you. Yeah. So, what do you get when you combine a hipster and a scientist? You get someone that makes record players that use lasers to play instead of needles. So someone made
Someone who I want to shake their hand and then immediately punch them in the jaw.
Well, thank God they're using their powers for good and not evil.
I think they're using it for good and not evil, except that then turns it into a digital player. And it's all about being the analog media. Because you want the pops and the hisses and all the stuff.
Well,
But
I think that the idea is supposed to be that it won't damage your record, but yeah, you're losing something in there.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Also, it's ridiculously expensive and looks like a Laserdisc player because it's that big.
Well, then why not just get a Laserdisc player? Laserdiscs were the bomb.
I'm sorry about that. I
Laserdisc, the Betamax of DVDs.
I got a Laserdisc player
Of course you
specifically so that I could get the original unspecial versions of Star Wars because they were released on Laserdisc and that was the best, highest quality you could get the video and the audio. That was the best. And I burned through, because they weren't up to the task anymore, I burned through 3 Laserdisc players. They all died. Horrible, painful deaths. And then I just said, fuck it. It's not worth it. It was not worth it. So I believe whoever inherited my house when I left Orlando also inherited a crate of Laserdiscs. I have no idea what to do with them. So good for them. Okay. So over in Rowan County, I think we've heard about that place a lot lately. But Deputy Clerk of Courts, Brian Mason, He hung a sign on his little desk there that said his new title was Marriage License Deputy, indicating that he will continue to follow the law and not that crazy woman who's actually the clerk of Rowan County. So good for him and all those that are seeking a marriage license by the law. More on that.
Well done, sir.
More on her later, because her 15 minutes of fame is apparently not up.
45 minutes of fame before she disappears. Whatever.
Something like that. So, in an interesting little article out on some blog that's pointing to another article, they say that science, I use the scare quotes for science, has apparently created a blood test that will tell you when you're going to die.
Now, being that I was actually a student of genetics, and I looked into stuff like this, and I read the article, and while it is a little thin on the actual research,
it is a bit thin.
This is not impossible. Based on my, slightly above a layman's understanding of how genetics works, yeah, this is reasonable. It's just we've probably known, or at least the medical community has probably known, that this is a possibility for a long time. But the human genome is ridiculously freaking complex. Yeah. So figuring out what to look for is hard. I mean, just mapping the genome takes, several days to do a DNA test, and that's not a complete mapping.
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah. But this test was developed by looking at 54,000 gene markers in healthy, but mostly sedentary, 25 and 65-year-olds. 25. That's an interesting age.
Wait, so 25 and 65, or 25 through 65?
I believe 25-year-olds and 65-year-olds.
Okay.
Well, yeah, they needed to establish a
gotta have a better
sort of a baseline.
Yeah, and then they narrowed these down to 150 genetic markers, which make up what they call a molecular signature for biological age. So apparently they can figure out when you're on the decline, and you might then, if you take the test earlier, then you might be able to predict when you're going to die, or when your body is going to start, I don't know, like rejecting your brain, Alzheimer's.
Well, again, I've studied genetics and I understand the mechanism for cancer, for one, which a lot of people don't. It happens as a side effect of cell duplication.
Improper.
Your cells are constantly dividing, and eventually that process breaks. A mistake is made, it's not corrected, because the human body is remarkably good at that, but it doesn't always work. And then suddenly you're broken and you're falling apart. That happens. So looking for markers of things going wrong will help you know, hey, this is how close your body is to breaking down entirely. That's pretty fascinating, really.
I mean, like it's really impressive, but like on the surface, it absolutely sounds like Japanese blood type zodiac stuff. Like,
yeah, it really does sound like that on the surface, but no, there is more. So this is definitely kind of a clickbaity article, but maybe actual science does need a little more clickbait.
A little bit,
maybe.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay, moving over to Texas. A Texas.
Oh God. Why are we going to Texas?
Well, because they're a big state and they do things that affect everyone. So a Texas judge ruled last week that a case against Williamson County could go forward after a job applicant claimed the commission had a religious test for constable jobs. Now, one, I'm fascinated that Texas has constables. I think that's really amusing. Secondarily, let's see here. I was shocked, Lloyd said, according to KVUE. I was sick to my stomach when I left because I had never believed that things like this in government would go on. They were asked about abortion and marriage, which they really should not be asked about. I was asked a question on their view on gay marriage and all the applicants for Precinct 3 Constable and their views on abortion. And if you don't go to the church that they want you to go to, you can't have a job as a public employee in Williamson County, Yang noted. So basically, they wanted everyone to be Baptist. in a particular Baptist church, apparently. So there is a video. You can follow the link. I'm not going to give any more airtime here. But apparently they spent $200,000 in defense of these hiring practices. So if you're in Texas, you should be angry. There you go. Of course, there's plenty of things for you to be angry about in Texas.
Because you're in Texas.
Yes.
And we're sorry for those of you who are in Texas for being there.
Yes.
But if you cannot escape, be angry.
It's like when I first looked at this story.
There's 3 people in Florida. So just put this in context for you.
I first looked at the story, and I was like, "This is abhorrent. How the hell is this happening?" And then I remembered it was in Texas.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, that's why."
The only place that it would have made more sense for this madness to go on is southern Arizona.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like,
Louisiana.
This has gone unchecked for how long? Everybody else was just like, yeah, no, sure. I'm going to go to this church. I'm going to hate on these people. I'm going to stare at these people with judginess and,
Mr. Judgy.
Screw it. I want to be a constable because I'm the only place left in the modern world where I can be a friggin' constable.
You'll never get me, copper. Okay. Back in the Wayback Machine just for a moment, Obama had signed a blue alert law to protect police. It happened back in May, but was not widely publicized, so I figured I'd just bring it up to let you know that, oh, look, Obama actually signed a law that everybody liked, and that's probably why nobody mentioned it. I've seen all
because it was unopposed.
Yeah, I've seen all these memes about, why hasn't President Obama spoken about this? And I saw that like last week. This happened in May, and it's exactly the same thing. The law will require instant nationwide blue alerts to warn about threats to police officers and help track down the suspects who carry them out. The Rafael Ramos and Wajan Liu, I've probably butchered the names, but there you go. National Blue Alert Act of 2015 is named after the 2 New York Police Department officers who were killed in an ambush attack last December. It was so uncontroversial that it passed both houses, both the House and the Senate, by a voice vote alone. So there you go. If anybody's saying Obama doesn't do anything for the police, he hates the police and all that, blah 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 blah, why isn't he saying anything? Maybe it's just not getting any fanfare.
You're wrong, because as we know from science, no amount of evidence can really prove you right, but a single piece of evidence can prove you wrong. This is that single piece of evidence.
Yeah, so there you go.
That is true.
Use it to your best advantage. It was actually out on USA Today, not on some weird crackpot website. So there you go. Long story short, back in we had talked about Stephanie Guttormson being sued by this crazy wackadoo named Miller, Adam Miller.
I think we should officially change his name to Wackadoo.
Yeah, well,
Wackadoo is my favorite insult for the incredibly unreasonable.
And he is incredibly unreasonable. Anyway, lots of money was raised in a legal defense for Stephanie, and then if you need to find out about her, she has a blog out on Pathos, I believe, and also another webcast, a Think Skeptically, I think it is, Steptically. Yeah, it's a play on words. There you go. You can find it. Anyway, he's going to sue her again because apparently being criticized for lying to people on the internet is illegal in his mind. And follow the link out on Pathos for under the blogs for What Would JT Do. Yeah, there's some videos, some wonderfully horrible videos that, if you feel like getting enraged about something and somebody just totally off their rocker.
If you really absolutely need your blood pressure to rise so high that aneurysm in your brain is in danger of bursting, this is the place to go.
That is what floats your boat. I highly recommend. These are going to be great for you.
Now, I love getting angry. I can't sit through these things. I just
Yeah,
I want to destroy objects when this happens.
They are that bad. In fact, but before we move on, speaking of your unbridled anger, Michael, you sent me two things.
I did send you two things.
You made two rants.
These are just random things that I was thinking about at the time. If you think they are appropriate to publish, by all means do so. The second one is edited much better than the first one is.
I have actually not had a chance to listen to them. Would you like me to play them at the end of the show?
I don't think that it's not necessary, but if you want to.
I don't mind. I just...
Well, I mean, now that you've been all shy about it, I really want to know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll get through the show, and then we'll if we're gonna play those. Okay. So this Kim Davis person, she was, I guess she lied and said that she was not. She was going to allow and do her job, so she was allowed out, and there was a huge event, a press event covering her release from jail. And they played Survivor's Eye of the Tiger when she came up and Victoria.
And the people who own the intellectual rights to this song are very angry that she used it for her march of hate.
Survivor frontman Frankie Sullivan slammed the pair on his Facebook page on Tuesday for blaring the Oscar-nominated 1982 hit "Eye of the Tiger."
Well, Scuttlebutt has it that legal action is forthcoming, but the conservatives are obviously trying to keep that on the down low.
Right.
Isn't this the second time that Mark Huckabee has been involved with musical copyright infringement on his douchebaggery?
I don't know if it was Huckabee in particular, but no. You might have been thinking about Trump, because Trump used one.
No. Well, I know that conservatives care about all laws except the ones that are actually real, but I could have sworn, and I mean, internet, correct me calmly if I am wrong, but I could have sworn that when he was trying to be president last time, he got into this same kind of snafu. It was him or somebody else who was talking about running as a Republican, and then they used some song to prove how cool they were, and they were slapped with a lawsuit, real hard.
It might have been him. It might have been.
I mean, I believe it's him because
I know that happened, and so far it's only been happening on the Republican side. I guess because Ted Nugent isn't good enough for them, or I don't know. They just can't use the ones that are allowed to use. They want to use good music. In a way. So GOP presidential hopeful Ted Cruz was cock-blocked at this event by Mike Huckabee when he was blocked from getting into the limelight by one of Huckabee's staffers when he was at this Kim Davis martyr event.
Oh my God, that video is so great. He has the most magnificent pout. It looks like he's about to cry.
I think he really was. It's like, but this was going to give me the election. Hey, sir, may I have some more smut, sir, please?
I mean, Huckabee totally Kanye Wested that whole thing, all right, Jim, I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to be president real bad.
Real bad.
That's about it, yeah. And then, as if the GOP Republican RNC clown car was not enough, John McAfee has decided to run for president and is starting a new political party for it. Now, if you're not familiar with John McAfee, he is the man that made a fortune selling McAfee antivirus. He invented the antivirus software essentially. It was him and the guy from Norton. Can't remember his name. It was
probably Norton.
It was not actually just Norton. No, there was a guy. I can't remember his name. Feel free and correct me. It might have been. I think it might have been Tom something. Could have been Norton. I don't remember now. Anyway, he made a fortune selling the antivirus software, and then he sold the company itself and basically his name to it. But he's been in some trouble recently with some of his more strange antics, I guess, like playing Russian roulette in front of journalists and then being hunted down and questioned for murder in Belize because he lived in Belize, and apparently he may have shot his next door neighbor. and then went into hiding, and then was like broadcasting weird videos.
Is this an episode of 24? Oh my god.
It's real life. This guy is nuts. I mean, look him up and just pop some popcorn and just sit down and read. It's very similar to 24, maybe a little bit of Yeah.
Like I want to get a bunch of news articles about him, and then just like have a dramatic reading, like it's a spooky campfire story, and then he decided to be president.
You could stitch it together like it's one of the Jason Bourne movies. I mean, all you have to do is just give him amnesia and like super fighting powers, and
throw in some like bizarre like limits of our knowledge science, and you could have a Fringe episode. Hell, you could have a whole Fringe season. I mean, you could do anything you want with this story.
I'm putting it out there right now. He's probably someone's evil twin.
I don't know what he is, but
doppelganger.
He's
going to be amazing for the race. It's going to be.
I hope that he out crazies Trump. And then, Donald Trump gets scared.
No, he's the man to do it. There are pictures of him with cocaine all over his mouth, surrounded by hookers.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm serious.
I'm excited. What a beautiful time to be alive.
This is wonderful. It's wonderful.
And with that, the debate between those two is just going to dissolve into a steel cage match.
And that's when we find out that they're both like lycanthropes, and one is half hyena and one is half wolf, and then they're just going to eat each other. And it'll be the most beautiful like proof of extraterrestrials that there ever was.
2 candidates enter, 1 candidate leaves. Master Blaster runs RNC. Okay. Let's move on here.
Are you annoyed by misinformation spreading like crazy, and you want to stop the flood of nonsense coming from all directions? Go to Wikipedia, as do all those millions out there. Did you know there's an edit button on all Wikipedia articles? Why don't you go and hit that button to start making the world's largest online encyclopedia a more reliable source of information? If you're specifically interested in skeptical topics, come and join us at Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia, an international endeavor to change the world for the better, word by word. There are many ways you can contribute. You just need to start. You speak several languages, all the more reason to join us. We provide training and all the help you need. If you want to make a change, there's a nice community waiting for you out there. Contact us at gsowteam@gmail.com, visit our website, that's guerrillaskeptics.com, or check out the Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia Facebook page.
And on to some good news. Rick Perry has decided to drop out of the presidential race. However, he left warnings for the GOP. Cryptic. Not really cryptic, just kind of pointed, actually. First, the answer to a president nominated for soaring rhetoric and no record is not to nominate a candidate whose rhetoric speaks louder than his record, Perry's prepared remarks said, warning conservatives against falling for the cult of personality. Perry continued, "My second warning is this. We cannot indulge nativist appeals that divide the nation further. The answer to our current divider-in-chief is not to elect a Republican divider-in-chief." So obviously, or not so obviously, considering it's Rick Perry, he was kind of taking a jab there at good old Trump. I don't think he likes having him there. I don't think that's a big thing for him.
I feel like...
He also was lower tier and wasn't going to be...
Well, no, I feel like he thought he had a chance, and then Donald Trump comes in as this big evil buffoon, and he is kicked so low in the pecking order that people only remember his name, and he's like, you know what, screw it. You realize this guy is kind of like a cartoon Hitler, right? I don't want to run against cartoon Hitler. I don't want to be the guy who was beaten by cartoon Hitler, and good night. Tips his hat and leaves.
That's really what it boils down to is you have a chance of actually losing to this caricature of a human being. How fucking embarrassing will that be?
So he's going to bow out while he still has some semblance of dignity because he doesn't want to be that guy.
Right?
I wonder if just this is actually foreshadowing him going to jail. Because remember, he's been indicted. And
oh, yeah.
Like felony charges. So I wonder if it's just like, you know what, there's no way I can do this.
No, he's a white male politician. He won't go to jail.
Well, yeah, but
not unless they find another dead hooker somewhere, and then it happens to be like with him.
Oh, come on, that was fine for the kid. I mean, come on.
That's true.
We have to laugh because otherwise we'd cry.
Pretty much. Pretty much it. I don't really have anything better than, hey, Rick Perry's gone. Yeah.
It is nice. We hate Rick Perry. I mean, we hate all of them, but we hate him too. So seeing one of them go away is nice.
Well, like we can only hope that more of them are going to be federally indicted on douchebaggery, and they will just continue to pick themselves off until it is cartoon Hitler versus Bernie Sanders, the superhero.
Wow.
He really is. He really is the internet superhero. Have you seen the one of him riding the unicorn shooting rainbows out of his hands?
No. Why haven't you sent that to me directly?
I will find it again and send it to you because it's glorious.
And ladies and gentlemen in the audience, you can find that out on their mutual tumblers as they the tumble love. And those links are in the show notes, available over at orlyradiopodcast.com. And now, some friends of mine in the secular community are running yet another conference, and this is in the Carolina region. So if you happen to be in the southern region of the United States, so, southeastern, maybe you should go. Here's a promo that they sent me. Cool. If things play.
Coming October 2nd through 4th, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Carolina Secular Conference 2015, featuring speakers from across the country: Mandisa Thomas, Callie Wright, Sarah Moorhead, and many others. emceed by the one and only Mark Nebo, and featuring a musical performance by Shelley Seagull. And this year, a guest appearance by Nova Nebo. Get your tickets now at www.vacaycon.com. That's VACAYCON.com.
And there you go. So yet another conference that you get to go to if you would like to go. So, yeah.
They're pretty damn fun.
What is that?
What did you do?
That is not me. That is not coming from me. What is that? What is that?
Are the aliens finally landing? Have they come to take us all away?
Take us all away? Could they just take away Donald Trump and Ted? Ted.
Just that guy. He'll make a great science experiment.
just Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, and I will have no more Christmas wishes.
Oh wow. That actually sounded like a cooling fan, but we could play name that erroneous noise. So go ahead and send us an email or send us a voicemail 470-222-6759. Yeah, if you know what that sound was, let us know.
If you are the aliens here to take away our evils, let us know.
We will help you. We will help you choose your quarry.
Exactly. Just go through our back catalog. You'll find a bunch. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's move on. Into the bad. So down in Kentucky, of course, we've been talking about this whole Kim Davis thing for way too long now. I really hoped that she would fade into obscurity quickly. That has not happened. It's been all over the place. And apparently now heavily armed Christian patriot militias have vowed to stop future arrests of Kim Davis. Yeah, with guns. I don't think that's going to work. That isn't how this works in this country.
I'm gonna say a thing.
Go ahead.
Right now, as the stunned person of color here. If they were black, they'd be gone.
Yeah.
If they were,
because it's true.
If they were Muslim or somehow gun-wielding Buddhists, they'd be gone. If they were all women, they'd be gone. If they were doing this to protect the safety of somebody at an abortion clinic, they'd be gone. So, I'm not enraged that they exist. I am enraged that they have not been neutralized by the government.
Well,
yeah, it's hypocrisy at its finest, because we've seen this time and time again, and as you have pointed out, if it was any other demographic, they would have disappeared by now. They would have committed suicide with sarcastic air quotes in their prison cells, things like that. But see, we live in the great era of the internet where people are already pointing this out all over the place, and you're not going to get away with your bullshit anymore. So while I am enraged to the point where my urge to kill is rising, I'm going to let it go for a little bit and see what happens.
Well,
on the upside,
if you recall that whole thing with the sniper, aiming at federal officers on a bridge, he was never taken into custody. He could have killed lots of people there. That would have been airstrike worthy if it wasn't just some white guy claiming.
Well, I'm fairly convinced that was an inside job. Like 100%, I believe that was a conservative conspiracy. They set that up.
I don't know.
Because
that might make sense.
Because trigger happy, crazy sniper, trigger happy cops, and they didn't get into a gunfight. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. Not for a fucking second.
I don't know. I didn't see the actual tip of the weapon. Maybe it had one of those little orange plugs in it, so that it was just a toy. Yeah.
Right. Still, if he was black, he'd be dead.
He'd be dead.
That's true.
If his last name was overly ethnic, like mine, he'd be dead. It wouldn't matter. He could be 11 years old, and he'd be dead.
Yeah.
I just, what gets me on this is that somebody has the nerve to do this and survive, which, on a legal standpoint, okay, fair trial, whatever. However, fair trial is back to, in the 1780s, white landowners only with a Bible on their pocket. Are you kidding me right now? Because a teenager steals a cigarette and gets gunned down. But this white dude shows up trying to snipe federal agents, and he's just, you know what, guys? We stopped it in time, and we all lived happily ever after.
You know what? I feel really good because I hadn't actually scrolled all the way down through the bottom. And, related, last year's Bundy Ranch standoff with federal marshals, the Oath Keepers stationed snipers. It's the same people.
Oh.
It's the same people. It's these Oath Keepers.
Yeah, once again, I'm playing the tinfoil hat card. I'm calling conspiracy because when it's the exact same people, you're really, really starting to lose any semblance of, innocence here.
Well, you can play the tinfoil hat, and I will play the race card.
The tinfoil hat includes the race card. I'm 100% behind that.
I'm gonna play this here race card.
They're not.
I'm gonna play.
We can play.
I'm gonna play this Christian privilege card, and
we know that one's true.
And I'm going to play this Bible Belt card.
You know what we need? We need a Cards Against Humanity expansion pack for this, so we can play multiple cards.
Cards Against Humanity,
really
please
do.
listen to us. We need something for this whole Kim Davis drama.
This whole dynamic and everything going on with social justice in this country just has cannon fodder for you. Please do it.
It really does, yeah. Maybe for Christmas this year. That would be fun. There's an audio call about this. Should I play it or should I just move along? I leave it to you. What do you think?
I vote play it. I'm new here. I want the whole experience.
Okay. It's minute 38 of...
Complete with sound bites.
Here we go. I haven't even heard it, so let's go.
From what I've read, the judge only let her out. I think the pressure obviously has something to do with it, but he's saying he let her out only because her subordinates, her deputy clerks, are issuing licenses after he ordered them to do it under the same threat. And so now that she's out of jail, I mean, if she goes to reassert her authority over her own office and her employees, she's liable to be grabbed up again by the same judge. So, as far as we're concerned, this is not over. And as you said, this judge can be put on notice that his behavior is not going to be accepted. And, we'll be there to stop it and intercede ourselves if we have to. If the sheriff, who should be interceding, is not going to do his job, and if the governor is not going to do the governor's job of interceding, then we'll do it.
I think maybe educating the sheriff as to what he can do. Maybe he doesn't realize that a lot of sheriffs haven't been educated to the point that they know they don't want to step out and make a mistake like that. But he wouldn't be making a mistake. He's just basically doing his job. Maybe we can get.
I'm going to stop it right there because they're far too stupid.
Okay, apologist douchebag. That's not why the sheriff's not doing anything. He's not doing anything because he's a bigoted asshole. And the reason that she was released is because of Christian privilege. And it doesn't matter whether or not her subordinates are doing the job she refused to do in her absence. She broke the fucking law.
Well, that's the thing.
She should
doing her job.
Yeah, and I don't even believe that she should be put into a prison cell for this, because she's obviously insane if she thinks that she has a leg to stand on. So she should be put in a padded room and we could look at her through a small window forever.
I'm gonna weigh in. First of all, apologist guy, I'm sure you think your heart is in the right place, but your head is up your ass. Secondly, I'm going to say that the judge that let her out was probably really scared of these loads of white guys with guns that were saying, "We want her out. We know where you live because we've been sleeping theirs."
It was
like, because they have been. I don't know if you saw that article.
That's the next article. That's the very next thing we're talking about.
That's the very next thing we're going to talk about.
And I mean, so how are you going to get all of these slap-happy racists off your lawn? You give them their one crazy person. Now, my other point on this is she wants this to be a religious crusade. And I would be everyone has the right to abuse their own religion. However, this is not a matter of her religion. This is a matter of common sense. If you have a job and you like your job, you keep your job. If you have your job and they want you to do something and you don't want to do it, you say, "I don't want to do it. Can someone else do it? Or can I just make everyone not do it?" And when somebody tells you no, you either go, "Okay, I'm going to do it, but know that I hate this," or you get a new fucking job.
Yeah, you know what happens to people who go into the military who are pacifists? It's called conscientious objecting. You lose the job. You lose the gig. You go away. You're not allowed to do any job in the military if you are a conscientious objector. That's how that works. That's how this should work. You just don't get the job. I mean, this is... I don't even know. I'm to the point where I'm just like, you're causing so much trouble, I just want to shoot you so it stops.
See, but that's also what her friends are saying to the judge.
Yeah,
however,
let's move on to that. Let's move on. So, there's another story out on Raw Story. Kim Davis supporters gather outside judge's home to hold him in contempt of God's court. So dozens of anti-LGBT activists protested Monday outside the home of the federal judge who jailed her, who shall not be named anymore. Yeah. They're threatening the person that's trying to uphold the law. And if we look at the whole thing, there was somebody that did just an outstanding takedown of this whole thing. In fact, maybe I can go look at that. Guys, kibitz on this for a second.
Michael is percolating.
Percolating? What are you percolating about?
Oh, you know this, Andy. You know I've got something to say when I'm waiting patiently to be called on.
I do not have the video up, so just interject.
Okay, well, here's the thing. For all of these people, trying to uphold God's law, and this is coming from the Christian in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I've read the book, and if the book is any indication, God can defend His own damn laws. He don't need you to do shit for Him. Okay? If He really doesn't like what's going on, something fire and brimstone pillars of salt. I mean,
yeah.
Specifically, you people. This is the demographic that believes that the Bible is literal truth, that it is perfect, literal divine truth. So why the hell are you standing anywhere near this guy? If you believe God is going to smite him, you're going to be caught in the backblast. Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm also going to point out, as the former Bible teacher in the room, and I spent 5 years teaching the Bible to teenagers and small children, I believe nearly verbatim the phrase in the Bible is blah, 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 do not follow man's law in the name of religion or something, should be executed. Again, gonna flat out say, one of God's personal bro dudes who was charged with telling the world, when it came up logically in discussion, but what if my job says that I should do something that I feel is against this book we're writing as a group? And the guy goes, you kill them. You kill that guy if he wants to break the law in the name of God. The end. Now, as the pagan in the room, Kim Davis supporters, come close. Come close. I've got something really important to tell you. I hope, with all of my heart, that my gods, which are older than your God, will go into Kim Davis's pancreas and have a party in her pancreas and give her either the largest abscess that looks suspiciously like Jesus Christ himself or actual rapidly spreading cancer. And then she cannot do her job because she is in the hospital praying for a miracle for the God that has forsaken her for being a douche. The end.
Yeah, you brought up my rants earlier, and Andy, and that second one has a lot of my feelings on the Bible and how stupid modern Christians are, because it just doesn't make any goddamn sense that they believe this shit that is clearly contradictory. Well, obviously, the dude who held the pen got God's message wrong, because if God is really perfect, he ain't going to contradict himself. So you're a moron.
Oh, here's something from Romans that I'm sure that love to throw out there. For sin shall not rule over you, because you are not under the law, but under grace. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
That's some deep shit right there.
Go deep, piled high and deep.
I'm gonna need some fishing waders to get through that bullshit.
I know, there it is. Romans 6:14. Anyway, I found the thing that I was looking for, and it's a bit of a diatribe, and I'm going to go through it because it is worth it. This was a comment by a man named Frank Johnson. I know that's a fairly generic name out there on Facebook, but thank you, Frank. So, as he says, so the saga continues. For those of you who are not very political or not from our usually fair Commonwealth, Judge David Brunning imposed a sentence of incarceration for civil contempt on Kim Davis, the county clerk of Rowan County, for her failure to comply with an order from the court. the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Kentucky. The sentence is for a violation of an order of the court, not because Miss Davis is Christian, and not because Miss Davis believes that same-sex marriage is a sin. There are two types of contempt, criminal and civil. Contempt is defined in this case as a willful and intentional violation of an order of the court. Criminal contempt means that you are in jail or otherwise punished for a sentence certain. Civil contempt means that the contemptor, Kim Davis in this question, is in complete control of the duration of their punishment. Once you cease to defy an order of the court, the punishment stops. A couple of things to know. First, Judge Bunning was appointed by President Bush and is the son of retired Kentucky Senator Jim Bunning. He is a conservative through and through. The Bunnings do not take their political beliefs lightly. Second, this is the only time that I can remember seeing a contemptor get through an entire appellate process before being required to comply with a court order. Usually, one is required to comply with a court order, with an order of the court, regardless of the appeal. If compliance is refused, then a contempt sentence is enforced, regardless of whether or not you're appealing the order. Kim Davis got special treatment on this issue. You guys are hearing that, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hearing it.
Okay. We actually have somebody out in the chat room. He told me that he thinks that sound was a pigeon. Thought I'd...
Oh, you know what? There are guinea pigs behind me.
Really? I suppose that could be.
Do you see? The orange one threatens me on a regular basis, and there he is, right there, being orange and a guinea pig.
Being orange. That is his crime. You
Well done.
orange. Okay. All right. So Kim Davis got special treatment on this issue. Kim Davis was in jail because she willfully and intentionally violated an order of the court. She received all the due process allowed her, all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. She no longer has any cause, good or otherwise, to refuse compliance with a court order in a nation of laws. Third, Judge Bunning threw Miss Davis a life preserver. After imposing a sentence for contempt, Judge Bunning took a break. When the court resumed, he interviewed the deputy clerks for Rowan County as to whether they would comply with this order. 5 of the 6 deputies affirmed that they would comply with the order. He then recalled Miss Davis and asked whether she could refrain from interfering with the deputies while they issued marriage licenses. If she would do that, then he was satisfied that she was not in contempt and could go home. Miss Davis refused even that much at the time. Miss Davis's guarantee of personal religious freedom does not extend to her right to impose those beliefs on others, particularly when she is acting as the government. Predictably, an outcry of judicial tyranny and religious persecution has arisen. This is not religious persecution. In the United States, we do not examine the sincerity or reasonableness of your religious beliefs in the public arena. You can believe any and everything in the name of your faith. However, the government may not deny you services based on that religious belief of the government, its agents, or employees. When that happens, when a clear violation of the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment occurs, which is precisely what happened when Miss Davis refused to issue the marriage license under God's authority, as far as judicial tyranny goes, the outcry is completely unwarranted. Miss Davis is subject to the jurisdiction, read authority, of the court. She got access to the justice in a way that very few people will ever experience. She was given special consideration at every step. This is not tyranny by any conceivable definition of the word, and to call it tyranny diminishes the claimant. For those who may be tempted to take the outcry seriously, let me ask you to consider whether you would tolerate a government that denied you access to services and status available to everyone else because of religious belief that you did not share. If we are to continue to be a nation of laws, then we must do so much better. And I'll leave it right there. Go ahead, Mike.
I saw a great thing that came across my Facebook dash actually just today, and I forget the lady's name, but it was a very simple, on one side were the conservative douchebags saying that the whole Kim Davis thing is about religious freedom, and then on the other side is a woman saying that you wouldn't be calling it religious freedom if a Muslim would refuse to give your wife a driver's license based on religious belief.
Yeah, all you have to do just
you'd call it Islamic fundamentalist bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, and that's a specific one. You can actually take religions that are not openly persecuted by even the government and apply it, because if she were a Buddhist and if she were Buddhist or if she was one of many of the religious sects of, say, Central India, and she decided as head of the school board that all food in all schools must be vegan from now on, because to do otherwise is in egregious discordance with her religious beliefs.
Yep.
It would be, you can't force your religion on me. Yeah. But because she is Christian, here we go, and white, playing the race card again for those who don't see.
You have a race card. Nice.
I made a race card.
Good.
Because she is white and Christian, they are ignoring everything about her life that is in direct opposition to what she's saying. She's on her 4th marriage.
Yeah.
She cuts her hair. She took a job in the government, which by many, many sects of Christianity is a man's job and a man's job only.
Yeah.
She's in a position of authority.
This is what you actually believe, people. The tenets of your so-called good book, and it's really not a good book. It was written by a couple dozen people over 200 years.
It's a good read.
It's wildly inconsistent. The plot structure is terrible. It's just a bad book. But this is what you actually believe, people.
What is an anthology? If we really want to get down to it.
But it's not a good anthology because it's just all over the damn place. But
nor is Twilight, but people keep buying that.
Oh my God! Let's not get into Twilight because we could talk about. I know we could talk about that for ages. But this every time something like this happens, I always think of the Jews, and here's why: because the Jews aren't allowed to eat pork. They haven't been allowed to eat pork since ever, and they don't try to stop me from eating my bacon.
Nope.
That's a decent religious person right there.
Jesus Christ himself did not eat pork. Jesus Christ himself did not eat shellfish. And did he, in all of the things that he went and said, people, because, and he was nitpicky. Let's be honest.
He was pretty damn nitpicky.
He was nitpicky because no one can convince me that if Jesus Christ is real, he wasn't also fraught with OCD because of all the pressure that was put on him as a child. But he went through, and
when you're told you're the son of God.
But he went through, and he flat out, he called people out on their pettiest bullshit. He invented the word hypocrite because he didn't like people from that town, and people from that town were called hypocrites. And screw you, you're acting like people from that town. I'm micromanaging this now. Never once was he like, and you've also got to follow my dietary restrictions. And you've also got to watch out on people getting married differently from what my parents were married. I
have not come to abolish the laws, but to uphold them. Not a jot or tittle shall be removed from the laws. I always love to point out that, Jesus was a Jew. He was not a Christian.
Yep.
That would be weird. That would be real weird. I died for my sins. What?
I died for my own sins, yeah. So, it's like, yeah, Christ wasn't Christian. Christ was Christ.
There were no Christians. You're all named for him.
Also, Christ was a job title.
Yeah,
it's true.
He's the king, yeah.
His name was Joshua.
Josh Nazarene, which is, by the way, a cute name, but at the same time, Jesus Christ is literally his job title. It's like how The Rock is Dwayne Johnson, but we call him The Rock. It's like that with Jesus. Yeah. It's the same thing with Jesus.
You went to Dwayne, really?
Hey, you know
Dwayne
what?
Johnson is a superior specimen.
Don't tell me you don't know what The Rock is cooking. And if you don't, you should.
Well,
Because
like what The Rock is
like
cooking.
my good friend says, he is a superior human being.
That's the thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I guess. Okay, we've gotten our time out of that one. Oh, lordy. Okay, so let's see here.
ORly Radio listeners, this is your host, Andy Cowen, calling my voicemail to make sure that it still works. Please consider calling us, 470-222-6759. Bye.
All right. So,
okay, Andy, I gotta say, because we know your camera does weird things, your camera was slowly zooming in on your face during your dead stare, and that's it was glorious.
Yeah. That's a good reminder. We actually have a YouTube channel, and we broadcast this live out to YouTube every week. And there are 2 people, count them 2, that are actually watching us right now.
Who are you?
I think I know who one of them is, because he's also in the chat room and says, Pearl Jam has a good anthology.
Pearl Jam is amazing.
Since we're talking.
And yes.
So we have a chat room. You can get out there. I'm sorry, it's Flash-based at the time, but yes, it is available at orlyradiopodcast.com.
But it does exist.
So you can watch the video right next to it, and you can chat with us in the chat room right there. It's all free. You don't even need to, have a username and password. Just, sign in, and you too can yell at me all day long. Okay. So today, our logical fallacy of the week is special pleading. You moved the goalpost or made up an exception when your claim was shown to be false. Humans are funny creatures that have a foolish aversion to being wrong. Rather than appreciate the benefits of being able to change one's mind through better understanding, many will invent ways to cling to old beliefs. One of the most common ways for people to do this is to post-rationalize a reason why they thought to be true that must remain to be true. It's usually very easy to find a reason to believe something that suits us, and it requires integrity and genuine honesty with oneself to examine one's own beliefs and motivations without falling into the trap of justifying our existing ways of seeing ourselves in the world around us. What is that noise?
That is definitely the pigs threatening me.
Those are your guinea pigs? I could have sworn you had like a parrot or something.
No, that is the sound of 2 elderly guinea pigs yelling at each other and then at me.
You've got the odd couple behind you?
Oh, yes. There's a white one, he's blind, and then there's the orange one, and he hates me.
You did mention that. Yeah. Okay. All right. An example of special pleading. Edward Johns claims to be a psychic. But when his abilities were tested under proper scientific conditions, they magically disappeared. Edward explained this, saying that one had to have faith in his abilities for them to work. I think we've heard that before. So, that was special pleading, and you can find your logical fallacy out at yourlogicalfallacyis.com. All right, so let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah. The ugly. Okay. I don't know how much time we're going to spend on this, but it might be a long time. There's a bit of a problem in the world, if you've been paying any attention to some of the global news. There is a refugee crisis, as they're saying, with a lot of Syrian refugees fleeing the nation that they once called home, primarily because of, well, ISIS, I think. That's one really good reason. I'm sure that there are others. There's even an article out there someplace about it possibly being about global warming, and they have to move someplace else because their land is becoming even more arid than it was before. But you see, the reason it's in the news is because many countries in the European Union are having a very hard time absorbing all of the refugees. Germany, for instance, has taken on the biggest responsibility with taking on over 800,000 refugees. In contrast, America is going to take on maybe 1,500 at most. 1,500. Apparently, we have a refugee ceiling in the country. We have claimed, the United States has claimed, that it helps enough with military relief efforts, by providing ships and other support and aid dollars of, to the tune of around $4 billion. Though, yes, that's an awful lot of money. I might want to see the receipts on that one. There is a website, rcusa.org, and they have the refugee admission levels. Apparently, the United States annually can take in about 70,000 to 80,000 persons. This is the Refugee Act of 1980, which requires annual consultations by the administration with Congress to determine refugee administration numbers for the fiscal year. And that goes from October 1st and ends September 30th. So each House of Congress then holds hearings with its representatives and figures all that out. Typically, it's in the neighborhood of 70 to 80,000. The only thing is, we take in refugees all the time, small numbers. So they're trying to budget out how many of these refugees we're going to be allowed to take in. But I don't know, 70 to 80,000. It sounds like a lot, but we're people and really bad with conceptually figuring out numbers.
Yeah, we're really bad with big numbers and figuring out just how big those really are. That's not a big number, and you got to remember these European nations are way smaller than we are. Where are they going to put the people? We've got just huge tracts of land that are empty.
Sorry, what was that? Huge tracts of land. Sorry.
We've got huge tracts of land that are empty. We've got all the room in the world to take these people and put them places. We do. But this is another example, and I'm going to go back to it because it's really easy to trace it because it's a game of follow the money, and since Reagan, it's all been conservative bullshit. This is another example of conservative bullshit. They don't want anybody but them here in this country that they stole from its native population. And they throw money at the problem because that's what conservatives do, and then they completely forget about the actual human element. They don't actually care about people. They care about looking good. We know this to be true from the whole pro-life, sarcastic air quotes, argument. They're not pro-life, they're pro-birth. This is the same thing here. They're not humanist. They don't care about the refugees. They care about good press. When it comes to actually helping people, they don't give a damn. That's why they're all going to hell.
I will weigh in. I've got many feelings.
I imagine you do.
Not nearly to the direct extremity of my dear friend Michael. But
I'm a hateful bastard.
God, do I love it when someone gets under your skin. I'm gonna start at the beginning, and I'm gonna take that road straight to Michael's terrifying grinning face. Now, first of all, Syria is first. I ask that we call them ISIL and not ISIS because they did that, to take over a international sign of motherhood, which also is very, relevant.
Also to ruin a very good TV show.
No, they ruined Archer, which is more than enough. Screw my religious beliefs. How dare they ruin Archer? However, but also it doesn't fit. They just wanted that name so that they could stake claim on the former Egyptian Empire as part of their thing. The Egyptian Empire that was dissipated in 34 AD, but whatever. Okay, sure. They are literally scaring the people they're trying to conquer out of the territory. Vladimir Putin, a.k.a. the Second Devil, has flat out said... Has flat out said, no, I'm totally helping those guys, and nobody's doing anything about it. Also, Syria is in that area where it's been upwards of 130 degrees during the day. There's nothing good about being a Syrian right now, other than there are nice people in cold places who are going to let you in. Europe, however, doesn't do. They don't have a great track record with keeping hold of their refugees. When Czechoslovakia was, being undone, a lot of people went into other places to be safe and ended up in Australia, because Australia was the only place that was like, I mean, yeah, sure, fine, because.
Well, that's another place that has all of the room in the world. Just wild, empty space.
But they've also got nothing but venomous snakes. We've got less venomous snakes.
Hospitable, yeah. I mean, everything there is trying to kill you, including most of the country.
I have asked actual Australians, and they've said, yes, no, we're just really used to the imminent death threats of living here. I've asked like 5. It's a beautiful thing. But no, the thing is, when you think about the number of refugees that we allow here, and you think that until this year, everybody who visited from Cuba who wasn't rich was a refugee. That literally means it was nothing but keeping out specific minorities from this country under the excuse of, oh, well, I mean, like Cubans, Cubans, or, I mean, them cartels. And so I'm going to find another reason for this. And
playing the race card again, yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that this is Ronald Reagan, the first devils, racism and xenophobia continuing. And Ronald Reagan is the reason why the ISIL even exists. Because he's the reason why the Taliban was around to go and tell people how to do these things.
Yes, and we need to continually remind people of this fact. We, as in America, created every enemy in the Middle East that we have today. We funded them to overthrow some guy we didn't like. And then when the people we gave, rocket launchers to turned against us, we funded the next guys who are now our enemies.
Well, for us to continue to be at war with Oceania, we must invent the enemy so that we can actually continue to fight them endlessly.
And we are supposed to be the safe haven for immigrants, regardless of why they want to be here. That's actually the point of America. Is your government bossing you around? Come to this country. We only killed one race of people so that everyone else can be happy.
That's not that bad of a track record, honestly, in the history of the world.
I mean,
we only committed one genocide.
Considering how many we're funding now, because we're going back. Like, it's takesies backsies in the worst way. Like, the purpose of having a free country and having such a large country. Remember, the excuse they used for eminent domain was that we needed room for more immigrants because we needed to save the world. And now that we need to save the world and allow in more immigrants because of eminent domain, screw it.
Yeah.
I would like to read The New Colossus, which is the poem by Emma Lazarus that is on the Statue of Liberty. So, not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her wide eyes command the air-abridged harbor, that twin cities fame. Keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shores, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Yeah, what happened to us?
What happened to us? Ronald Reagan and the conservative douchebags. That's what happened.
And before
this used to be a country that cares about people.
It was more of a rhetorical question.
McCarthy.
And I'm going to fucking answer it because it needs to be answered every single time.
One of those thought-provoking questions so that other people get to answer it for themselves.
But there's only one answer, and people need to be slapped in the face with it.
Michael, there are two answers. Before Reagan, there was McCarthy. McCarthyism set the stage for the utter decimation that was, in fact, Reaganomics.
No. McCarthyism is a little different from Reaganomics. I'm going to disagree with you on that.
No,
but yes,
I'm not saying that they're not
McCarthyism caused its own brand of hell.
McCarthyism is how Ronald Reagan felt. It's where Ronald Reagan felt home, and it is what he constantly kept going back to. I know they're different. I mean, they're definitely different, but they're equally evil.
They're very close together.
I put the credit to Reagan for just refining and distilling McCarthyism to its core essence of hate, because that was truly a work of art that he did, creating such a horrible philosophy.
It's an actor's job to take the raw material and reimagine it in brilliant ways.
Bum.
That's right. And for those of you that are under 30, just remember that Ronald Reagan was an actor before he went into politics, very similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger. In fact, very similar, since he was also governor of California. Oh, okay. I think we could probably go on about immigration and reforms and all that, but we don't really have an answer other than get people in there that actually want America to be that place again. Ask them what they think of that, of our history, of that poem, for instance, and what it means to them, and then hold them to it, hold them to the fire. So if there is a call to action to the show, it is be involved with the political process and your state representatives.
I like that phrase, hold them to the fire, and if they don't, recognize what America is actually supposed to be, then just dunk their head in it until they stop moving.
No, you roast them at 350 degrees until a golden brown, and then you feast upon their warm, gooey innards.
Nom 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 nom.
Waste not.
Waste.
Okay, so we are down into we're moving on, which means that we're pretty much done. So
yeah.
Entertainment reviews, nitpicks, picks, etc. What do you have? Do you have anything to tout for the show? I have something.
I'm sure you do.
Delicious. I stopped off at ABC today, which is the fine liquor store down here in the southeast, and picked up a bottle of Crown Royal Regal Apple. This stuff is so good. It's criminal how good this is. And you can't have my bottle. That's all I can say. So that's my pick. If you happen to be of legal drinking age and would like yourself a little aperitif that it happens to be 70 proof, you can do worse. You can do a heck of a lot worse.
Brilliant.
It's delicious. Also, I've been drinking today from an ABC growler, which is that you buy your own bottle, which is either 32 or 64 ounces, and then you fill it up there at ABC with whatever beers they happen to have on special. So they've got like 11 kegs to choose from. And today in my growler, I had Due South Cafe au Lait Espresso Porter, and it was good. It was very, very good. So, yeah, putting coffee in beer keeps me awake for the whole show.
I had some delicious coffee tequila, and it kept me awake and calm for like 4 hours straight.
Coffee tequila? You have my attention.
There's a bar in St. Petersburg, Florida called Taps and Tequila, where they have all kinds of beautiful tequila things going on. And at their original location, which is where I had it, they had like tequila that had been steeping espresso beans since the dawn of time. And they had like a cocktail with it. And first I was buzzed, and then I was mellow, and then I was simply alert and calm for a while.
That sounds like absinthe.
Nearly, but you don't have to like licorice to have it because it's coffee.
That's true. That anise flavor. Mike, do you have any picks?
Surge is back.
You're welcome for that.
Yes. Yesterday, I ran the first session of Group 2 for the World of Darkness that I'm running, and one of the players brought Surge and gave me a can. Surge is back.
That would be me and my boyfriend, to be honest.
I'm so happy.
Okay, I've got a story about Surge, because Surge was also going to be my pick. Now, I want you to know that all of yesterday. Now, we ended up at Michael's house at about 9:15.
I had woken up like 20 minutes before you guys got there.
Until about 8 o'clock, and we had left, in the early afternoon, late mid-morning. We went, and we used the internet because Coca-Cola has a Surge website where you can locate Surge. And we went to all of them. And we went to places that said they were going to have Surge, and they didn't half an hour away. We scoped long and hard to find new Surge outlets. And we get to a corner store that is supposed to have Surge. And mind you, like I'm a full-grown adult with a college degree, and this is what I did with my day yesterday. And we get there.
We're not here to judge you.
And we went straight to the Coca-Cola cooler. And it's not there. But there is a completely empty little row. And I'm like, I bet that's where it goes. And my dear boyfriend was like, maybe. And so I am angry and drowning my sorrows in free samples of Froyo while he takes a peek around the corner. And he spots the logo. And he looks to the very cool clerk guy. And he's like, hey, is that Surge back there? And it instantly turned into a shady drug deal. The guy was like, y'all want some Surge? Y'all like Surge? And we're like, how much you got? And he's like, we got 5. How many you want? And we're like, we'll take them all. And he's like, all right, it's good to know that you're down. Yeah, it's good.
5? I want 5.
And we took 5. We buy them. I feel better about myself. And as the door is closing behind us, I just turned and I was like, that was the oddest drug deal ever. Like, y'all want some Surge? Hell yeah, we want some Surge. You got the stuff, we got the stuff, we got the money. And we made a way and we cleared out this place of their Surge stock because it was that important to us.
Did Coke actually start putting cocaine back in products?
No.
What we're talking about here?
Surge has so much sugar in it.
Yeah.
So much sugar in it, it might as well be cocaine in both addictiveness and how awake I was for the evening.
It's incredible amounts of caffeine and sugar and angel's tears, and it's just amazing. It's this miraculous liquid.
They kept the logo. It's exactly the same. One of the main ingredients is orange juice concentrate. And we popped our first one open, and we took a sip, and I thought I was gonna weep. There were harps playing.
The lead angel was playing a bitch and saxophone solo when I had mine.
And I was like, oh, this is what happiness feels like. Happiness feels like my blood pressure rising rapidly on this delicious chilled beverage, and all was good. And that's what I've got to say here.
Well, okay.
2 enthusiastic votes for Surge.
And with a story and everything to go along with it, I just had booze. So, you had angel tears. How can I compete?
Well, see, here's the thing, and I'm going to do this next time I get my hands on some Surge. I'm going to put some vodka in it. I'm going to have a good time.
Michael,
you may cause
I can make this happen. You bring the vodka. You bring the vodka. We will find a way to get the Surge.
The vodka's right there, madam.
They got a hookup. They know where to go.
That's right. That guy was like, oh, and the Surge is only 99 cents, so it was sweet beauty. So,
glorious.
We're going to see how that works out.
20 years and say, I remember when Surge was only 99 cents. I remember.
It's going to become the actual currency of the land. Can you believe this cost 15 ounces of Surge? Ridiculous. Back in my day, we bought Surge. We didn't buy with Surge.
Okay. I got nothing on that one, so I'm going to end the show here. Here we go. Okay, that's it for tonight. We'll be back next Friday at about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, the conversation continues on the web. Head over to orlyradio.com. That's ORLY radio.com for all the links right at the top. Do watch us live if you can, and hey, chat in the IRC. Go ahead, rag me. It's fine. Also, if you've liked what we've done here, you can help keep the lights on. You can support the show by following the Help Us link on the webpage or going over to patreon.com/Cowen. That's patreon.com/Cowen, COWEN. If that's too rich for you, contribute to the show with topic ideas, corrections, advertising offers, unclaimed lottery tickets, hate mail, whatever you've got, unsolicited advice, etc., by emailing them over to us at orlyradiopodcast@gmail.com. Also, hey, that voicemail that I've been hawking the entire show, yeah, I still have that, 470-222-6759. Also, we've got a subreddit. You can post stories there and vote them up and down, and maybe I'll actually go over there and look. Also, hey, the biggest thing that you could ever do for us is spread the word. Share the show. Go over, leave us a review on whatever platform you found us on, and, of course, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, on Tumblr, Google+, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We can't thank you enough for spending some time with us. And until next time, this has been ORly Radio, part of the Cowen Services Network. Music for the show was created by Kevin MacLeod of Incomtech.com. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. This is where I go and find the stop broadcast button. Ah, yeah, there it is. Bye, everybody.